My metal music. My metal music.
Your metal music.
My more like
Your
mental
menstrual
music.
music.
Mental
Your
music.
menstrual music.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how's it going tonight, guys? What's new? What's happening? How was your guys' week?
It was good. It was good.
It was without incident, so it was
Okay.
very, very interesting. Work has been very rough this past week, but it's getting there.
What do you mean? Describe
No,
rough.
it's just like so the product that we have is sitting in containers. The shipping containers
Yeah.
that like say like Costco or Ocean Network Express, those big pink ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so things like that. There was in our lot there was about 46 of them parked.
Okay.
And they needed to get those offloaded and the product moved to semi tractor trailers, so that way they can get rid of the ocean containers, because they were having to pay like $75 a day, as opposed to $150 for like a month for one of those 53-foot trailers, those used ones that they lease out to everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hey, where's Flexington at?
He's chatting. He's on Discord, so I don't know if he's gonna join.
Bastard better join.
I know.
He was the one who suggested the topic in the first place.
That's true.
Watch, he's not gonna get on, and we're gonna see him like flex his streaming Escape from Tarkov.
I just did a bunch of flex.
Just bug the shit out of him.
I put it on his Discord.
His
His
Discordio.
Let's see what he
Discordio.
says.
Hi,
So
Marty,
okay,
how you
well
doing?
that's pretty. Oh shit! I forgot. Hold on. Oh, we better
Damn.
give him shit for
We're
that,
not-
dude. We're gonna give him shit.
We're
for
not
that.
important to flex.
I want to. Okay.
That's really forgettable. I'll take it.
Oh, you want to hear something that happened in my week?
Yeah, go ahead. Come on, tell us.
I
This is a
just-
good little warm up.
I got so I downloaded this game called Clone Hero. It's like a free open source game that takes the charts and music from all of the Guitar Hero games and Rock Band games, and basically allows you to play them on your computer.
All right.
And I recently was able to get an Xbox 360 controller, a Guitar Hero controller from the first or second Guitar Hero game, so that I'm able to play it now. And it's really fun, and it's given me a hell of a lot of like flashbacks, because I downloaded the entire set list from from Guitar Hero 3.
Oh my god, Guitar Hero 3 is the best.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
was,
who can forget Judy Nails, man?
oh yeah, Judy
Judy
Nails.
Nails.
What's
Judy
it called?
Nails.
Clone Hero?
Yeah, it's
I see
called
what
Clone
this is.
Hero. The best controllers to use with it are any of the Xbox wired controllers, because it's like the least trouble to connect it. Hello. The only issue is
Yeah, he's really forgettable.
the only issue
Whoa.
with the Guitar Hero controllers that are wired is that they're collector's items now, so that they're super expensive at this point.
Yeah, I seen Guitar Hero 3 on Amazon, I think, for like $300 for the guitar in game.
Yep. Super
Sheesh.
expensive. I was lucky enough to find mine for I did a shitty thing to get it. I was on eBay and I was just watching one of the auctions, and it was like a second left, and I bid right at the last second for $40, and I won it.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Good.
That's how
So
you're supposed to bid it.
yep, I got it for $40, and normally they're all like $100 right now.
Oof.
So just
Good
for
stuff,
the
man.
guitar. So yeah, it's pretty. I gotta clean it up though, make it look pretty.
Let's paint it up, man.
I ripped that game.
You
Game's my bitch.
Made that game real bitch.
I used to be waiting at every GameStop. Every time one released, I would be waiting for it.
Dang.
Guitar Hero,
Just
I
straight-
loved Guitar Hero 3 so much.
Yeah,
man.
ever since the first one, I was me and my buddies at GameStop the day it would release, and go home and bang out the whole fucking game.
I
Sit
remember
there and party and
Thanks, John.
play all the songs.
remember when I bought my first PS2. I didn't really have PS2 like any game consoles really. I think I mainly had like Nintendo stuff, like the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and all that
I
stuff.
remember when Rock Band 3 came out, I was super scared to play it. Because I was like 6. I was like 6 years old, and Kay bought it for our PlayStation 2.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you were
And
a child.
I would always watch him play.
child.
Yeah, I was young,
Dang, dude.
and I would always watch him play it. And then one day,
Boys.
I started that was how I experienced most of my games for the first time. I just watched Kay play them.
It's time to get back on watching your favorite horror streamer.
Flexi King, you're starting to stream horror again, I see.
I am
Lexi King.
taking my breaks. I beat Bendy and the Ink Machine all in one fucking stream last night from beginning to end.
Dude, all I
Good
remember is I got on your stream for a bit, and you were just like walking around a pool table, just smacking the balls, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if they did something. They didn't. It was just for fun. Beat the whole game though.
Damn.
Awesome.
That fucking ending of that game is so sick when you see Bendy actually transform into like full demon. It's friggin' insane.
Yeah, it's pretty. I watched a couple of YouTubers play it before. It's pretty sick.
Just picked up Pathologic 2.
Are you ready? Are you ready for that one?
Yeah, that one has been one I wanted to play for a very long time. That's a horror RPG itself.
Yeah, that one's pretty intense.
Mhm.
Dreadout 2, I think I'm getting close to the end, maybe? I don't know.
Some of those monster designs on that one are pretty intense. Like they look pretty crazy.
Yeah, considering that they use almost like an older, almost like a graphic base for it, like back to the original, like Resident Evil's kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they did really well with it. It's really glitchy, but
I was telling Kay about that.
it's very glitchy. But yeah.
It
The
looked really
first
cool.
one wasn't that bad. And I've tried playing the expansion. I beat the first one. I got into the expansion, and it was damn near impossible to get past the first fucking door you had to do. I just couldn't.
Really?
It was. They made it so fucking hard. It was like Dark Souls of fucking straight horror. It's. I still haven't even touched it because I was so fucking frustrated. I tried doing the first door for hours, and I just couldn't do it.
Wow.
Damn.
But
That's craziness.
so
Okay, boys and
back into
girls.
the horror.
Boys and girls.
Sounds good. It's
So
go ahead.
The way I'm looking at the Discord right now, Archon's on top, so I want to hear about Archon's favorite movie and any special effects from any movies that he enjoys.
Dang. Okay, so this is gonna go way back, guys. So I'm gonna take you back to what is
Matrix.
it? No.
I thought so too.
No. We're gonna go back to like Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope.
Okay.
You know, things. The practical effects, especially in the first Star Wars film, I remember just how amazing they looked. Ooh, even Alien. That's another good one.
Alien's unbelievable.
Yeah, the Nostromo model, just what they made, the practical effects that they did at that time was just amazingly great. You know, just the attention to detail and how everything, just how everything looked, very realistic, very.
Right.
Very how would you put it?
Jurassic Park's a really good example
Very
of special
spooky.
effects. I'm sure we'll talk
It
about
was
that
very
later on.
dark and dreary, and
Quinlan.
it made you not want to do space exploration.
fucking great,
You
Quinlan.
know, you were thinking like,
It's really good.
damn, if this is a future of space
The burrito.
exploration, I don't think I'm gonna want to be on that ship. You know?
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. So,
If you're
but I
gonna-
think.
go on. Sorry.
I think one of the best, for me anyway, my opinion, one of the best science fiction films for special effects in cinema was Independence Day.
Okay.
Yes, very, very good.
Independence Day.
I remember back in high school, it was the summer before freshman year, and Lisa, our sister, and the Vidiot's aunt, my sister Lisa, Kay the Berserker sister also, we went with a bunch of our high school friends, and we went to the, what was it at the time? It was Edwards in Fontana. And we saw Independence Day there, and I was glued to my seat. I did not want to move. I had to take a piss. Did not. I mean, I did not. I was glued to my seat from the opening credits to when they show the moon, and you see the
mothership.
You see the mothership just flying over, and you see the city destroyers actually sitting underneath it. Now you got to remember, each one of those city destroyers is 15 miles wide. You know, so you got to imagine how many was there? I think there was 24, I think, so that makes it 24. That was a pretty large number for that fleet.
Yeah.
So I remember watching that, and then watching the ships come in over the cities, and when the time runs out, and Jeff Goldblum's like, "Time's up," you know, and they destroy Los Angeles. They destroy New York City, and then they destroy Washington, D.C., starting with the White House. Just blowing up, all the explosions, everything. It was just amazing. I remember just sitting there blown away by the fire engulfing the city, which, by the way, they say nobody was quite sure what that was, so to speak, but I believe it was some type of plasma blast or a plasma wave, because it was like a charged particle beam.
Yeah.
Something that was a reaction that caused the buildings to erupt. Because if you notice, when that plasma blast hits a building, it virtually just pops it and rips it apart.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that any humans caught in that blast or in that fire were probably incinerated, because there's no bones. You don't see any bones lying around. Probably reduced to, I would assume, ash. And then just the wake of the destruction when you see L.A. when Will Smith's girlfriend, I can't remember her name in the movie, was driving around, and the apocalyptic scenery that they made for that. And when you do watch the extended edition, it's really neat, because there's a street prophet, you know, and he's over there and he's saying, holding up the Bible, the end is near, and he's yelling at them to repent.
Yeah.
And
No, it's not Quinlan. It's
that's what I really enjoyed. That whole movie was
not a big fan of Chipotle.
The whole movie was fantastic. And then of course the last aerial battle was one of my favorite scenes, when they go after.
Remember, I live in
the
SoCal.
ship,
I got like
the one that's heading towards Area 51.
Mexican food up the wazoo, bro.
And it's funny to think that those. The city destroyer itself, they actually built a full scale
Mexican food around.
a few of them, you know, a few to blow up and a few to make scenes with. But I can't remember how large these models were, but I saw a picture of them, and they were pretty huge. They were the models were very highly detailed. All the markings, everything to the last bit, from the little LED lights that were in the hull all the way to all the mysterious markings. Yeah, that's talk about attention to detail right there too, and its respect.
Other thing for Independence Day, I will have to say, I don't care what anybody says, greatest motivational and emotional speech ever in history
of all time.
We will not go quietly into the
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Spoken beautifully by Captain Lone Star, might I say.
Just,
Captain.
Bill Pullman. I'm sorry, but Bill Pullman did not get enough love for that role that he played as the president. I remember Siskel and Egbert were calling him a doofus. Like, he came off as a doofus. He wasn't really a presidential leader. But the thing is that I remember we were discussing this, and my dad, our father, said he's like, hey, but would the president or any world leader really know what to do in a situation like that? I mean, would anybody know what to do in a situation like that? If you woke up one morning and there was this 15-mile wide shift just hovering over your city, and you know that you're not going to have a good day, you know, in the back of your mind, that's the feeling you're going to get, that this isn't going to be a good day. There's some shit that's about to go down. And
Anybody with the name Ebert, you don't trust.
yeah, that's true.
You wake up, you see a step, and
That's very
it's not going to be a good day.
Yeah.
I gotta say, this is, by the way, I got each one of you on a monitor, and it's just like I'm sitting in a room talking to you guys.
It is. That is awesome. I like that. I like that flex. Also, I like to add to it. So there was a series of books that were released for the film. One of them was The Silent Zone. That was the prequel. That had to do with Dr. Olkin, Brent Spiner's character.
The one who dies,
and
right?
Yeah, but see what happened was he actually knew about them and that they were going to actually come to Earth. He received like a there was a one of the alien scout ships. They found it buried in the ground in the Silent Zone in Mexico.
Oh yeah.
And when he found it, he received a bunch of visions about what was supposed to happen, if I remember correctly. And so then he knew about it, but he didn't know exactly when it was supposed to happen. So he didn't really say anything. He never really elaborated on it or warned anybody. The CIA knew about it because what's his name? He played the Secretary of Defense. He was a former head of the CIA, and he knew. He actually knew. He was another one that actually knew, but he didn't warn anybody. The novelization for the film was interesting because there was actually 4 city destroyers on the United States. And that went into more. It was cool because that book actually went into more character detail. It went into more character development. And the third book, which was The War in the Desert, now that would have made, I would think that would make for an awesome video game, so to speak, because that actually has to do with the ground battle between humanity and the aliens out in the Middle East, in the desert.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that just be like XCOM anyway?
I don't know if you can want to say it would be an XCOM, but
or would you want it to be more like action-packed sort of dealio for a game like that?
I would think more action-packed.
Let's put it this way: Call of Duty with aliens.
I guess you could say that.
I think.
So I had these weird ideas for like if they were to make an Independence Day game, and say Roland Emmerich got involved with it, and you flesh out these ideas. I could see Independence Day as a video game with modern graphics as a reimagining of the film. And you can see I can see the one of the things is Harry Connick Jr.'s character surviving. His plane crashes in the desert. The alien attacker crashes in the desert, and you have to get out. You play his character. You have to get out of your plane, and you have to escape this alien. So you got to kind of find a way to hide from it, and you know, just sort of weird things like that, you know, and finally find a way to kill it. I also could imagine. Do you remember? So when they're in Area 51 and they're getting ready to attack, what really would have been a kick in the ass right here would have been like if they were going to. So they show the president their new experimental aircraft, and 2 of them would have been YF-22s, and the middle one would have been the Black Widow, the YF-23, and that's the one that you get to fly as the president. I think that would have been
What do you think, Alien? What do you mean, Alien Isolation, John?
Could have seen that the stealth technology and how they were using the alien technology with man's technology, so to speak. You know, they were mixing in all this technology together, and they came up with the YF-22 and the YF-23. And you fly the prototypes, you don't, because those planes did not go into the F-22 didn't go into mass production, I think, until the late 90s or the early 2000s or something like that. But I think that would have been a pretty cool little gimmick. And to do a Ace Combat style aerial battle.
I was about to say, it sounds like you're getting into some Ace Combat type of stuff.
Yeah, and I would like to see it like that type of aerial battle with the city destroyer, the alien attackers, your freaking the alien attackers going up against humanity's warbirds and over the desert. The odds are, you know,
what I'm thinking, D, is do you remember the Ace
what
Combat
about
with
now?
Stonehenge?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I love Stonehenge.
I could just imagine having the aerial battles you're talking about, with all the alien aircraft, all of our aircraft and stuff like that, but also with Stonehenge in the background, as basically our version for interplanetary freaking anti-aircraft type stuff, just taking out these giant alien battle cruisers. That'd be freaking dope.
I would see I could see mobile SAM launchers, stuff that's hidden out somewhere, you know, people launching missiles, or a couple of you got a B-52 runs over City Destroyer and just dropping tons of ordnance on the top of the destroyer, just trying to pound the shit out of them, you know. That would be some, I think that would be some pretty cool
just
stuff.
Trying to pound that ass,
trying to pound
trying to pound the shit out of them, you know.
The booty bopper.
And you could get into, if you want to, really fix
gotcha.
if you wanted to really fix Resurgence as far as the film went, but I know it would take a lot, you know. I think some cool ground battles could be done with that, you know, and things of that nature. But but for me, my favorite sci-fi film has always been Independence Day, and probably always will be. So
yeah.
But let's talk about Armageddon. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Is that your favorite movie?
Is that your
favorite movie, or is that your favorite sci-fi movie? Now, what's your favorite movie? That was the question.
Oh well. Oh shit.
He's like, oh.
Let's just. Well,
jeez, dude.
I
thought we were gonna keep it specific stuff like that. That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay. Well,
if you could choose without any explanation, if you could choose any movie that you've seen in, say, the last 5 years, what do you think your favorite movie would be? What invokes the most emotion with you?
Fudge, dude, that's a hard one.
That's what she said.
Well, we can give you some time to think on that if you need it.
Yeah, I'm looking at my movie rack over here, and I'm trying to think
something too that I think was interesting was when you brought up Alien. If we're talking about special effects, that Alien is one of the prime special effects, I think, in any movie in that era. It was one of the most beautiful kind of I don't know, makeup that we've seen in a while. I don't think it's anything that could ever be replicated, honestly, in that sense.
The original Alien movies.
Yeah.
It was a different, and I had a discussion at work with a couple of the guys, and they agreed with me on this. It was a different era of filmmaking. It was when directors and producers and even studios would even try and stomp on them, but directors and producers would actually stand up to the studios back then and be, no, we are going to implement this. Like the scene in Alien when they found the space jockey, what they call it, the guy in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Fox was saying no, they did not want to film that scene because it would have been too costly. Because
Parasite, skeleton,
it's one of the best movies I think I've seen in a while.
Yeah, they did not want to include that in the film because all that it was supposed to be was they found a pyramid, and inside the pyramid was going to be the eggs, But Ridley Scott, and I think to a degree, Gregor, that's his name, right? The gentleman who made the Alien, who designed it.
Gregor? Or are you talking about
H.R. Gregor or something? I can't remember.
H.R. Geiger.
Oh,
Geiger. Yeah.
you're talking about that guy.
He actually, I think, to some degree, wanted to film that scene as well. So with a lot of persuasion, Fox gave him the go-ahead, the green light to go ahead and film the space jockey scene, which was a very intricate part, which was, I believe, I remember seeing that as a kid. That scared the shit out of me. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, thinking to myself. Because I think I watched it once with our Uncle Bill. And yeah, I was asking my uncle, what the hell is that thing? And he goes, oh, mijo, I don't know what it is, but it's a good movie. You know. So
I used to own the box set of those movies on VHS.
Good old VHS.
All right.
Damn, that's.
I used to have like 100 horror movies on VHS.
Oh, goddamn. Did you ever think about getting that? Do you have it still, or are you thinking about getting it like transferred to a DVD?
No, I don't. I sold off all that stuff a long time ago.
You should have kept it, man.
I switched over to DVDs, and now I don't even own DVDs anymore.
I just own Blu-rays. I started a Blu-ray collection recently.
Don't own those either.
I just picked up the Shining.
I got Amazon.
I just picked up the Shining 4K re-release.
Nice.
I can't wait to watch that. But all right. So Flex, what about you? Favorite movie, and then any specific CG effects that you'd like to mention?
Well, okay, you guys know already. My favorite franchise is the Friday the 13th series, because Jason is the all-time greatest friggin' killer of all time. No one compares. Nope. Racking over 300 kills total over all his movies. He puts everybody else to shame.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yep. I think Freddy might be second with 60 something, and then Mike Myers is like 50. I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but Jason's the only one that racks up in the hundreds, and it's over 300. But
Jason,
favorite special effects movie?
Yeah, Jason Voorhees. I'm sorry. Jason Voorhees has 151. Michael Myers has.
Oh, you got to look up to the.
Jason
you
X.
Gotta look it go through the entire Jason franchise. It'll tell you, because even the newest one,
yeah.
I think just when they have the kegger in the cornfield.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember. That might be Freddy vs. Jason. Just in that cornfield, he kills like 28 people or 30 people or something like that.
Damn.
So for this list, I think it's just in their like respective franchises. So like not any spin-offs or anything.
Oh, okay.
Jason has 151 in this list. Michael Myers is second with 133. The Invisible Man is 123.
The Invisible Man.
Yeah, and then just after that's Hannibal Lecter with 98, Jigsaw 60, Freddy Krueger 39, Chucky 38, and Pinhead with 35.
No, I'm wondering where. I mean, all these movies, besides on the account of The Invisible Man, I'm wondering where some of these deaths come from.
Invisible Man deaths. I don't remember too many of those.
Yeah, no, and I mean, certain movies, you'll see them kill 5-6 people, and some of these franchises only have like 7-8 movies.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering where some of the video I had a video that I watched, and it actually showed you every kill from every movie, and it racked them up. So it was just a like flash of scenes where everybody was dying. But if I was gonna say one of my favorite,
the most iconic movie theme to
special effects movies is probably Evil Dead 2.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Now, because Evil Dead 2 put a
I think
funny,
honestly I'll always remember the Star Wars
twisted
theme
horror
the most.
take
It's
on
probably
movies,
not the most
and they
iconic to
were
some.
they went
one,
overboard
Jurassic
with it.
Park ones are very
Friggin'
iconic.
blood
but I think
spraying out of the
Star
walls,
Wars is just
changing
imprinted in
colors.
my
I mean, they
mind.
made it into like this overwhelming type thing. And then even when you see like the girl in the basement and everything, just their skin's like peeling off and stuff. I mean, those
they got kill
are
counts.
classic special effects that could only be done with movie makeup. Even like movies like Day of the Dead, the old
Yes.
zombie movies. When you see them tearing a person apart and friggin' entrails and everything, CGI these days can pull off some of that, but you can instantly be like, that's fucking computer generated. Those movies, some of the shit looks so realistic it make your stomach turn.
Mhm.
I believe CGI has its place.
Evil Dead 2 is right when it started getting pretty like zany, right?
Yeah.
Like where it started
I mean,
getting
yeah,
like Raimi-ized
that's
almost.
that's when they started adding a little bit more of the humor
Yeah.
kind of into it, but it's more of a humor by insanity because he was just going freaking crazy. Like my favorite scenes when everything in the friggin' house starts talking to him, the deer head, the furniture, and then he's sitting there doing like the teapot dance. He's just
Walking Dead has really good makeup. Not a good show, but
it's
good makeup.
so they did that so well, and Bruce Campbell is such a good actor, and they turned it into when he went to Army of Darkness. And actually, the Evil Dead series that came out to HBO, I think it was. The Evil Dead series is fucking amazing if no one has watched it. It is awesome. They touched upon going backwards towards the original movies.
Huh.
You know, they kept it really gory, over the top, but they made him like, if you've seen Army of Darkness, he's just a douchebag that's full of himself. And it's awesome. I mean, that series is that's probably one of my favorite series that I've seen on TV, horror-wise. It's the demons in that and everything. They just, I swallow your soul, and it's unbelievable to watch. I would suggest if anybody hasn't seen that series, watch all of the seasons straight through, because it just keeps you wanting to watch more.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. But yeah, those are probably some of my favorite special effects. I am always on the side of, because I like to do for movies. I actually used to do movie makeup myself that I watched. I learned from some people here in Salem, Mass. I got a love for it at a young age, because in Salem around Halloween, they have stands set up with people that do special effects, and I remember going to a stand and they used the putty, the scar wax putty, and did like scars on my face and stuff, and seeing how it came out, I became in love with that style, because of how real things look and what you can do with some of the simplest shit, a little bit of silicone and things like that, and I mean it's unbelievable. You get some liquid latex
Haunting
and some
on Hill
toilet
House,
paper,
right?
and you can make your face look like
that
it's
show's
falling off.
fucking amazing.
Certain stuff that the CGI just will never be able to hold the torch to. I think CGI holds its great place in ghost movies, because the seeing apparitions, things like that. Movies like what the fuck is that movie now? It's in the Insane Asylum.
Insane Asylum.
Shutter Island.
I know. What'd you say?
Shutter Island.
No. I just watched it too. It's a paranormal investigation team. They go to
Grave Encounters.
Yes, Grave Encounters. I think the
Whoa,
special
whoa.
effects they did in that for some of the the twisted faces and stuff, and
The
if you
special
watch the
effects
second
in
Grave
The
Encounters,
Exorcist were some of the
there's
best
one
of the
scene
time. I
where
know
the
for sure.
friggin' tall
That was truly
ghost
terrifying
comes
to a
up.
lot of
Dude,
people, because no one's
those are
ever
some
seen anything like that
nasty
before
CGI
at that
effects.
point.
The Grave Encounter movies are great.
Yeah, that thing, I remember that watching. Hey, I think Vidya and I watched. Didn't we watch the first one?
Yeah, we watched it with together, and then I watched it a ton of times with my grandmother. But I know
The
that
second one's
those
great.
those
Yeah, the second
those
one's
movies, they were really good. They honestly made me laugh more than I ever got scared. I think it was just, it wasn't because any of it looked very like funny or anything. Like a lot of the stuff obviously is pretty kind of horrifying, but I think what just made me laugh was it was almost like a perfect parody of like watching like Ghost Hunters or Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures and all those.
Those types of movies have been beaten to death over the last few years, but yet I will still watch every one that ever comes out because it's just I don't know. Maybe it was Cloverfield, one of the first.
Oh,
But it was probably one of the first movies that was done.
Like found footage.
Yeah.
It made it like.
Well, besides
popular.
for like Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Besides for Blair Witch.
You know, there's a movie I watched not too long ago. It's literally like an hour long, but I don't know if you guys. It's the Phoenix Lights '97.
I don't think I've
He
seen
was
that.
talking about
That was
it.
it's a spooky. It's a found footage,
Okay.
and it's Phoenix Lights. I think that one's on Prime. So if you have Prime, check it out.
The Phoenix
like
Lights.
Yeah, Phoenix Lights '97.
Okay.
I think there was a
um,
different movie called Phoenix Forgotten as well that was about
There's
the same
Phoenix-
thing.
There's Phoenix Lights '97.
Mhm.
There's the Phoenix Incident, which is it's a found footage, and it's made by one of the
Quinlan, come on,
He-
man. We
he
didn't play it
directed,
all
like, video
today or
games.
like the last couple days.
I wanna
It's
say, like,
alright,
Call
man.
of Duty.
I'm sorry.
what's his name is in
I
it?
don't believe those movies
Um,
are haunted. No, I don't believe those movies are
That
haunted.
one guy,
I think
Troy
that's a lot of,
Troy
like,
Baker, whatever his
other
name is, the
stupid
voice
stuff
actor
that made people
who does everyone's voice in
think
every
that they
game
were.
ever. He's
I don't think any of his films are haunted. I don't know. It's just not.
and
in
then
my,
there's-
line of thinking. I don't.
Yeah,
think
the Phoenix.
I could ever believe that a movie. would be
Phoenix
haunted.
Forgotten. That Schnoz just.
Yeah, Phoenix
mentioned.
Forgotten. That
Mhm.
was made by. Yeah, Quinlan, I saw them. That was. I saw a video on it made by the Foundflix guys that Q watches as well. The guy whose Case said was annoying to listen to. But he's actually.
Those
so
are
annoying.
those pretentious fucking voices.
I think he's a good. What's it called? He's a really good, like, if you don't have the time to watch horror movies or like to see every single horror movie that's come out recently, I think it's a really good like way to take it in and understand like how some movies work and if you might like them or not. Nice Quinlan.
You know what was recent? A good horror movie was the first two VHS films.
Oh, VHS.
I think the
Never seen 'em.
first one is superior to any of the sequels, but
Ooh.
yeah,
The
the
zombie-
first one's a lot really good.
The second one with the zombies was pretty
It was
good.
legit.
That was a good one.
And then they made the movie, what was it called? Siren, with Lilith from the first one. Did you guys ever see that one?
Oh yeah, Siren. The Siren, where she like.
Oh, Siren.
This guy's friend wants to rape the girl, basically, and she goes berserk and murders a friend, and then like flies away.
I don't know.
It's in the VHS movie, but then I think they made like that was like a semi-sequel to it.
It was an offshoot, I think.
It was an
No,
offshoot of that specific anthology.
Her character.
Yeah.
Hey, but that chick was super cute who played her though.
Even with the semi-extended eyes and everything.
No. When she's out of makeup, she's actually pretty cute.
So Flex,
Yes.
did you have like anything? Oh, that's some cool makeup.
That's like I can't find. That's all I could find from all my old phones and accounts days. I don't have the finished products and things like that. But that's like the big tear in the cheeks just done with toilet paper and liquid latex and some fake blood and some paint.
I used to, what's it called? I had a little thing in high school where I would try to do that stuff. I got pretty good at it. It's just I never had the money to keep doing it. Did you have any like, what's it called? What was I gonna say? So Evil Dead 2 is your favorite movie then? Okay.
No, the Jason franchise.
Oh, the Jason
That's-
franchise is your overall
any
favorite.
of them. I don't care what anybody says. Even Jason Takes Manhattan, it has its own place. You know,
Those are
but
really, those
I
are
mean,
really good
it's
movies,
hard for
Marty.
me to pick. It's hard for me to pick an absolute
Gotcha.
favorite movie because the genre in a whole, horror is my
What's your
favorite.
favorite.
And there's so many. Like I watch B-side movies all the time that most people don't even fucking hear of, or they just look past because it's a B-side movie.
Yeah.
And you know, and you find a lot of diamonds in the rough when you do that. You know.
I get you.
But-
Yeah, some of the best horror movies that have been made weren't like that. Weren't like supposed to be hits, like like Blair Witch Project and all those.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and
it
there's
works and it
actually
works.
around where I live, there used to be an institution called, it was the Danvers State Mental Institution, which is torn down now. They tore it into sections, and I think all that left from it is a water tower. But there is a
Oh, that's cool.
movie that was done in there. It's not based off the story, but it's more of a psychological aspect that being in this place kind of drives the guy fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is called Session 9.
That almost sounds like this other movie. That it's not like the same thing, but what's it called?
But
It
that
sounds
is done.
go on.
Well, that was done in a mental institute. That's only like 10 minutes down the road from me, 15 minutes down the road.
Oh,
It
shit.
used to be, and everybody used to try to break into it, and they had all unmarked graves from how many people died and just buried out in the fields. And
Oh damn.
Craziness.
that's where they Danvers State is where they perfected the frontal, not created, but perfected the frontal lobe lobotomy.
Huh.
Yeah, dude, some of the shit they did back then to mental patients was
Crazy.
downright barbaric. It was barbaric.
Yeah, a lot of
And
it
these
was.
guys, these I don't even know what to call them. I don't know if they call them psychotic, but these so-called doctors, man, the shit that they came up with, it was just like, what the
Yeah.
hell, you know?
Yeah, because
What is
everybody thought those kind of mental conditions could be cured, and
Yeah.
it took years and years to realize that you just can't cure that shit. You know, you could suppress
Yeah.
some of it with modern medicine, but some stuff you can't cure it. It's always there. It's how your brain functions.
Okay.
It's pretty crazy.
Oh, what's it called? My boy John over here brought up some good like recent horror movie kind of movie makeup was the decapitated head from Hereditary. I don't know
Ooh,
when
Hereditary was a good movie.
that was a great movie. It was a great horror movie too.
It was,
After
it was
the-
a good-
And there's
No problem, all father.
after the little
Hereditary
sister
was a
gets
good movie. Mhm.
her head blown off, and then they do a hard cut to her head getting eaten by.
You know what, John? That's very
Oh no,
tasteless,
No,
John.
he hates it
Okay?
too. Trust me, he
Come
hates
on,
it too. He had nightmares for like
Damn
a
it,
week
John.
after that happened.
I can see that. John looks like a
No,
little
no,
softy.
That is definitely
that's
more them implying actually movie effects makeup instead
Yeah.
of using CGI,
Yeah.
which I feel like a lot of movies don't do that much. Which is why I said I enjoyed the Evil Dead series because they stuck with
The
using my old school movie makeup
yeah.
in a new age, you know.
All right, so next on our list here is K. So, your favorite movie and any special effects that you particularly enjoy in any movie?
All right, gather around, children.
Jeez, here we
Let
go.
me tell you a little story. No,
Grandpa's gonna tell us a story.
gather around, children. I got my cough syrup here. I'm ready to let it all
Cough
out.
syrup.
And tell you guys.
Hey,
Okay,
K,
Yo,
can I ask you a favor?
what's up?
Can I go grab a beer real quick before you get
Yeah,
started?
go ahead.
All
Go
right,
ahead,
hold on.
dude.
Be right back.
I can get my vape
Skinny.
juice.
Go get your vape, Flex.
All right.
Wait. Idiot. Idiot!
If I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and ask them for 3 whole chickens, do you think they'll say anything?
What do you? No, just ask them.
I would like 3 whole chickens.
Can I just get 3 whole chickens, please? Just 3 chickens.
Okay, you fuck.
I used up all my channel points in that one day, but I'm getting more right now.
Okay.
Oh, what do you? He raised the points, huh? To do
all
the
did.
he
Raise the
raised-
points. Yeah, that was a 420 special. Oh,
Q.
no!
Ah!
God damn it, guys. Alright, fine. Q. Hold on.
If you put the points up, you got to do it, or die trying. This is why I don't have channel points yet, because I have
Just-
the ability to refuse.
Flex, you just gotta do like. You just gotta do like flex
Alright.
flex for half a minute. Flex for a
That's
minute.
I got a few new followers. Actually, I got quite a bit of new followers the other day, and that was like
Good, man.
2 people that just when they popped in, first thing they asked me, they're like, "Can you flex for me?" I flexed, and then they gave me bits, and
Dang!
They gave me bits
Using
and
that
followed
body.
me.
Using that body.
right.
Were they ladies?
TOS.
I don't fucking know.
That's what that's.
Flex doesn't care. He got some.
Listen,
got some
I'm,
biddies out of it.
I'm here for everyone to appreciate. Okay.
Jesus did a few push-ups and shut up, skinny. Alright, so Kay, you're up.
All right, gather around, children. Let me tell you a little story. So much like Flex, it's a series, okay? But let me tell you a story. So, what was it? 13th birthday, 12th birthday. My sister Lisa, she goes, "Hey, like, I want to take you to go see a movie for your birthday." I was like, "All right, well, what are you talking about?" And she was like, "Oh, well, I want to go take you to see Lord of the Rings."
Oh,
And before Lord of the Rings came out, like I had never heard of it. My sisters, talked about it. Oh, like yeah, we were required to read The Hobbit, and we know about the Lord of the Rings and all this. And I was like, okay, well, you know what, fine, whatever. The first one, the Fellowship of the Ring, So I was like, all right, fine, let's go. I was a little punk teenager, fantasy, So. So she took me to go see it. I was like, free movie, why not? Ungrateful little brat that I was. We go sit down, and from beginning to end, I was hooked. I was like, where have you been all my life? Like literally. Like,
where have you been all
what is
my
this?
life?
What is this movie? There's these creatures called orcs. There's wizards. There's trolls. There's these ugly fucking urukai. Like there's a dark lord. Like I was like, holy shit. Like what is this?
It has everything.
So we get home,
It has everything I've ever
and I'm like, I
loved.
want the books. I want to read the books. Get me the books, please. And like for 4 years straight, it was Lord of the Rings. And the Two Towers came out. I'm like, I gotta see it. We went to go see it on my birthday, and I read the books. I think like once a year for like 4 or 5 years straight. Like it was like a thing for me. Like it was a tradition. Read
Okay, skinny.
Return of the King, and I was just imagining how it would look, because the small battles in Fellowship, bigger battles in Two Towers. Return of the King was the bread and butter, was where it was at.
All at war.
Yeah, and our whole family went to go see that movie. All of us, like, there was like 9 or 10 of us, and we took out almost a whole row of seats in the theater, and we like sat there. I sat straight in the middle. I was like, I'm sitting here. It's my birthday. I don't care. Sat there, watched it, and it was like oh my god, like the battle
Oh
scenes.
my god.
Everything was on the line pretty much. You know, that was one of the main themes I really liked about the Lord of the Rings was it was against all odds. The good guys were severely outnumbered, outmatched. You know, but they still, like, in the face of certain death, they were going in and fighting. They knew they were, perseverance, the willingness to go in and fight and pretty much die. Like, that's what stood out to me. Putting sacrifice, so that's my favorite series. My favorite movie, obviously, is Return of the King. The CG for the time, the CG was really, really amazing. Well done.
It was
all three movies.
If I may, it was a really good mixture of practical effects and CG, I think.
Oh yeah, every non-CG character in those movies had custom-made costumes. Everything was forged the old school way. The leather was thrown out to be weathered and broken and broken in and weathered. I think what happened, what got him to do that was they gave Aragorn his ranger suit and it was like brand new, or they gave Viggo Mortensen his ranger suit and he was like, what the hell is this? Like, he's a ranger, like he's supposed to be out in the, he's a wildman pretty much. He's out in the wild, like what why does it look new?
Return of the King.
So he actually
came out in 2003,
took
so
it out and got it
old.
dirty and got it wet and got it muddy and gross.
After he's done.
And that's where that kind of came from, where everything lived in pretty much. And like that, the attention to detail for that was like really, really awesome. And it was everything, and the whole scene from the Siege of Gondor and Return of the King until the end of it, when the army of the dead come, was freaking amazing. The choreography, the fight scenes, the CG, and then you see the extended edition, and that shit was just expanded upon. Everything. It was amazing. Like, it was so well done, so well thought of. And it's just like, it blew me away at the time because I was a young kid, and to see something like that, it clicked on something for me, and it was just, I don't know, it was just like there's something there. And those will, to be honest, I've never seen anything come close to that, and I don't think I ever, I can't say I don't think I ever will, but it's going to be a long time for me to see something even close to that again, and so that was my favorite. It was my favorite movie, favorite CG, and it will be for quite some time. It's got a place in my heart for as long as I'll live.
I have,
but I will say one more thing.
Go
I will give special, what do you call it? Special mention. One of the movies, like the last 5 years, or I don't know if it was the last 5 years or so, but The Revenant.
Ooh.
That movie was shot, because it wasn't shot as like there were a ton of long shots in that movie where it's just continuously filmed, like it's there's big old long scenes. I like the way they filmed it. It wasn't action. It wasn't a quote action movie. Like, it wasn't supposed to be to begin with, but like it just felt real because close-up shots. There was a lot of close-up shots. It was really intimate with all the characters. You saw how gritty they looked, how dirty they were, how bloody everything was, and it was just, and it takes place during a really interesting time of American history for me. It was during the frontiers and the pretty much the pioneers and the Indians and cowboys and stuff like that. So that was really something that took me by surprise.
Mhm.
I mean, I heard it was a good movie, but until I saw it, it was something that I was just blown away by. And I have to give a special mention to that whole grizzly scene. That was fucking badass how they filmed that. Like, it was freaking. That was badass.
That was really cool.
It was a really good scene. Whew. All right.
What's it called?
Before we move on-
Two questions from my peanut gallery here.
Okay.
One of them was from Marty, and she wanted to ask you, Kay, if Little Me was there when we went to go see that movie as well. I said I was about 4 years old at the time when it came out, so I'm not sure if I was there or not.
I thought you were.
I was? 'Cause I can't remember anything at that point. I think the two earliest movies I remember going to see with the family is Jeepers Creepers when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, shit.
And then when I was like, I know when I was, 6 years old, going to see Revenge of the Sith for the first time.
And
And
you were. Maybe you weren't.
I remember that. I remember watching Revenge of the Sith. That was the first movie that I sat through all the way and like didn't have to get up and go pee or anything. Like I had to really go pee, but it was like right at the end when Obi-Wan and Anakin were fighting each other. And I was like, I'm not getting up for that.
Marty, that was 1917. That was a great movie too.
Yeah, 1917 was really good.
It was a good movie.
Oh, just real quick, I found that site. It was bloody/disgusting.com. And it's the 10 deadliest horror movie characters, and it does count all their shoot-offs. So it says Jason Voorhees in 13 films, has 300 plus.
Damn, fuck.
Mike Myers in 10 films at 111. Number 3 is Lubin, which, if you guys don't know, that is the Leprechaun. In 7 films with 45 kills. Freddy Krueger at 4 in 9 films with 42. Jigsaw with the 7 films at 40. Pinhead in 9 films with 35. Leatherface 7 films, 31. Chucky 30 kills in 6 films. Candyman 22 kills in 3 films, and Pennywise number 10 had only 9 kills but he only had the 1 film. So the 1 film, yes, 1 film, 2 parts. It's still considered a 1 film.
Okay.
But those are the top 10 killers they have on here.
Very nice.
Yeah, contains all of their shit, all of it. 300. Oh boy.
Yeah, one thing I want to add. One thing I want to add about when Kay was talking about the Lord of the Rings. I remember when I was living in Europe, and I bought all 3 of the extended editions, the one that looked like the books. And I remember watching those in German, and the German language fit so perfectly with the characters and the settings and everything. It was like, I don't know. It's just I've seen it. I saw it in English first, and then I saw the extended editions when I was living in Europe, and watching it in German is an experience because it's just so crazy how the language fit perfectly with the movies. Just everything, just the way just how the voice acting was spoken and the accent and everything. It was so surreal. I'm like, dang, this actually goes better than it did in English. It was a pretty weird experience.
Oh, now that you said something, Brute, about language, there you go, video. That's my answer. Probably my favorite film.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Ooh. I heard about that.
It's in
Brotherhood
French.
of the Wolf.
Yeah, you can get it
I've
English
been
dub,
meaning
but
to
it's in
see
French.
that.
It is extremely good movie. Highly suggest it.
Okay.
And I
Alright.
actually like watching it in French over the English dub version.
Yeah, most of the time when you watch something, like it's better to watch it in the original language it's shot in.
Yes.
It just gives it that extra like kind of oomph. Even like I don't understand why people complain about having to watch movies with subtitles, but
I don't know if you guys ever get this feeling, but when I watch a dubbed movie, when I really get into a movie that is in another language, and you kind of forget that you're reading, and it's almost like you're just understanding everything that they're saying,
Yeah.
even though your brain doesn't realize you're reading it. It's like you're just watching the movie. Like I remember one day I was sitting in my house, and I don't know why, but the Spanish channel was on.
shut up, Kay.
And the Spanish channel was on, and I was sitting there and I was just staring off and watching it. My roommate comes home, he's like, "Are you watching the Spanish channel?" Like, oh shit, I am. I didn't even realize. I mean, I just sometimes when you zone out, it's like you understand everything, even though you
Yeah.
have no fucking clue what's going on.
I think watching, like, I don't know, I think watching something that was meant to be watched in a different language, watching it in a dub version of it is like, it loses like a piece of its emotion, if you get me.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that it was funny, recently I watched Goodfellas with my girlfriend. And we watched it with her mom, but her mom only speaks Spanish, so we had to watch the Spanish dub of it, and it was the weirdest thing watching like these Italian actors like have this Spanish dub over them. It was uncomfortable for me almost. I was like, this is so, because like I've seen it in in English before, and it's like, you know, you get used to how everything sounds, how the emotion is. And
Well, that's because when it's something scripted over, they're just basically reading it, and
Yeah.
you know, there's not that feel of when you're playing the part, so it portrays itself that way.
I will say though that like some movies can be like I've enjoyed some movies more in Spanish than I have in English. Just like I don't understand Spanish very well, but like there's some movies where they do bring a little bit more emotion to it. But like if I'm thinking about like things that I don't like watching, like if I like watching in subtitles, like it's like certain anime, like watching it in
Oh,
the
anime
English
dubbed is
like
terrible.
the Funimation dubs are terrible. Like when in the Pokemon dub for one of the episodes where they call the onigiri, they call them donuts because they thought it would localize better to America. And like just watching things like that, it really like it just, I don't know, it loses something special to it. I think the original that it should be had. You know?
I could agree with that.
Yeah. All right, so now that Kay has spoken,
I have spoken.
we move on to the Qster, just Q, period. Can we have your favorite movie and any special effects or CGI that you'd like to have a good mention of?
No, you cannot.
Oh,
Well, shit, I guess.
Well, that wraps it up.
All right, fuck me, I'm not talking.
For me, it's probably the original Friday the 13th for special effects. Watching the remake of the Freddy film, like, you know, the bedroom scene where he comes through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The original was actually properly done from the director pushing his head through the wall.
Yeah, they use like an
And the remake.
elastic wall or some shit like that. It's like a rubberized wall stretching
and
through.
The
Yeah.
remake it's CGI and it looks so fucking bad.
Yeah. I know exactly the scene you're talking about.
I think just all the old slashers, as you said, just have the best special effects when it comes to that sort of thing. And all the remakes.
What's up, Mike? How
Like
you
there's
doing?
some
Good to have you in here, man.
practical effect,
Good to have you here.
as you said.
Hope you
But
stay and
when
just
it comes
chat
to
with
the
us for a
CGI,
bit.
they
Hope you have a
sort
good
of
time.
half-ass it. Thinking I'll pass.
yeah.
No, there is some remakes that I will side with.
I couldn't side with that Chucky one.
No.
What are you talking about? That was the
Fucking
greatest cinematic
But-
masterpiece of our time.
How now Rob Zombie is like he is the top horror collection of all time. Like he's a hardcore. I don't like the fact that he has to stick his fucking wife in everything because all right, in Devil's Rejects, things like that, great. Now you've put her in everything. She actually did a good job as Mike Myers' mother. She did a fairly a fairly good job. But the remakes of Halloween, he added, like Mike Myers was always the silent, he was pretty much a ghost.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a ghost. He just disappear and appear. He added that the rage that you knew Mike Myers had from his past and stuff through the Halloweens, I think was brought out with Rob Zombie's versions.
Yeah.
When you like the one scene, I think it's the first one, and he's in the asylum and he's bashing the guy's fucking head in the bathroom off the door, and you hear him just grunting. Like you can feel straight rage in that scene. Freddy, terrible remake. I will 100% agree with you. The Jason remake, they also did.
Wasn't good.
Kind of. No, I really liked it.
Oh, okay.
I felt like they did the same thing with
All right.
with Mike Myers. If you've seen it, like there's a scene where the camper's like kind of far away from him,
Yeah.
and he just starts like Hulk running and does like a one step jump off his leg and embeds the friggin' machete in there. Like those are only two remakes of horror movies that I really feel like they did it some
Correctly.
sort of justice.
Yeah.
And it was more so emotion based for the characters. They didn't fucking try to go anything crazy. They just made these characters that suffered in life or when in their history, made that shit brought out instead of just I'm here, I'm not here, you're dead, fuck you. now they made it like I'm gonna squeeze your fucking brains out your ears and you're gonna know how fucking pissed I am. Those are two that I felt like did it really well.
I got you.
I don't
But it just goes to show like how hard it is to make a decent film today.
Or you
Oh,
can-
absolutely.
Well,
It's really there's a lot of, I think a lot more than back then, especially like when you look at films like Aliens, Terminator 2. There's a lot more politics involved with filming today. It's just really
The
It seems
newest
like-
Terminator I really enjoyed, by the way.
not
The
to
newest one.
what's it called? Not to go
What
off.
with the Terminator game?
No,
John, I do think that
Terminator
expectations
game's
do
terrible.
kill a lot of movies nowadays too. I think expectations are a big part of that. We have all these.
You cannot go into a new movie or a remake thinking it's gonna fucking step it up from the original, because everybody knows it never fucking does, and that's why I was so happy with Halloween and Jason when they came back.
I think.
I'm sure not everybody feels the same, but I feel like I'm over the years been pretty qualified with my damn horror movies.
I think that it is kind of sad where we're like the state of cinema as a whole right now, and you can talk to any like I guess cinephile or something today, they'll say the same thing, that it's sad though the state that the whole of the cinematic like of the movie experience is at right now, because it's all basically back to what it was in like the 30s and the 40s. In the 50s, where it was the studios were the ones who pushed everything through, and if you didn't have a studio that you were attached to, you would just basically drop off.
Well, these days, people are so fucking numb to everything. Like all the horror movies that come out now, you don't see any new, like, fucking monumental slasher movies or anything like that come out anymore, because people are numb to that shit. When those things first came out, people were fucking terrified
Yeah,
of the guy that's hiding fucking in the dark and is gonna rip your head off. Now, every movie is gotta be ghosts and things and jump scares. It has to be something that pops up in front of you because that's the only way people get fucking scared now.
I think that is a fair assessment of horror movies now, but I think A24 has been putting a lot of work in. So is Blumhouse. I think that they've been like putting a lot of work in to get away from that sort of thing. Like, if you're to look at like Ari Aster, Hereditary and Midsommar, like those are like
Hereditary is great, like I said earlier.
yeah, those they completely go away from that idea of what a horror movie should be, and it's like this just ask this, like watching Hereditary, I think I didn't get scared per se, but I think it's the worst I have ever felt watching any movie, like any horror movie. It's the worst I felt inside because it's just this sense of dread throughout the whole thing. And then if you're talking more about A24 too, like movies like Lights Out or Lights Out or Midsommar and what's it called? It Follows is also a really good one. It's just like all of these movies that have it was K. It's K. He has a a voice changer on.
It's K.
I have no clue what you guys are talking about.
It's K. He's dicking around.
I think the biggest thing is that as like the horror genre had to mature at some point, and like it's kind of finally growing up. You get me? Like I love all the old slasher movies and everything, but you know, it's a different time and people just aren't scared of that anymore, like you said.
Yeah, like my dad to this day will tell you. Now, if you went and what his scariest movie, he tells me to this day, is he went to the theaters and he's seen Exorcist when that shit came out.
Yeah.
He said that shit terrified him to the bone. Now, if you went back and watched Exorcist now, you more so get a little giggle out of it, pretty much. But at that time period, you know, the religion and things like that and possession, and that scared the shit out of people. And especially where you hear these things are based, obviously based, when they say based on a true story, it's, you know, 10 stories down the line and 10 stories from that is somebody heard a whisper of something. That's based.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of these possession movies and stuff are based off real accounts, and I think that made people a lot more scared at that time period. But The Exorcist was a whole new thing at that point in time. I mean, girl jabbing herself in the fucking crotch with a cross and all sorts of shit, head spinning, spitting pea soup, and the remake version, the scene where she comes spider walking upside down the stairs and spitting blood and shit. That was a nice little add-on that they didn't have before. You know, they didn't do anything crazy. They only added like few tiny things. The statue scenes I could have did without. I don't need to fucking see the statue that represents wherever the fucking thing came from. No. But the spider walk scene with down the stairs with her bleeding out of the mouth, that added a small touch. And that was like one of the only really scenes that I remember them adding to it. But that was a cool little thing that they added in. But yeah, people, I mean, horror movies haven't scared me forever, but jump scares, they still do, and it's just because you're not expecting it, you know?
Yeah. It's funny, I watched a video one day to like, what's it called? How to like deal with jump scares. And it's like, I don't know, jump scares are like in that art of misdirection. So all you got to do is pay attention to the thing they don't want you to pay attention to.
Well, yeah, that's why there's always something in the scene, and then they make you think that something's going to happen, and then it doesn't. And then 10 minutes later, it fucking does. You know.
What were you going to say, Archon? Or Brute?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I remember your grandmother told us about when The Exorcist was first released in theater. People were actually... coming out of the theater, they were throwing up, there were people passing out, people were crying. Like that was a film that really shocked people to the bone. And I remember one of the first times I've seen it, what I saw it was I didn't get sick like that, but I was very disturbed by just what the hell was going on. Like
how is yeah, I go, this is just insane. Like they say, this is part of a true story. And I for the longest, I really thought it was like that was like almost like the actual story of what actually happened to that young lady, because it was actually based off of an actual exorcism, if I remember correctly.
It was
I don't
based
know if
off
any-
of what's it called? It was based off of an exorcism of a boy who actually had like he had a mental illness, and you know at the time no one knew how to deal with that, so they thought to scare the devil away, bro.
So they performed an exorcism on a mentally ill patient. But yeah, but that movie, Jesus, I mean, God, that was, when I think about it now, like the things that person said, or the actress was, yeah, just, it was very disturbing and disgusting. But that's
all those movies that were in that light are all had that same type of feel, like The Omen or Rosemary's Baby. And I don't know if you guys seen the series of Damien, which is him all grown up.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Amityville Horror.
Yeah, Amityville Horror, which I
Hills Have
hated.
Eyes?
I hated all the friggin' the other additional Amityvilles. I was not a fan of the original one, maybe two. I really liked, and then after that, I did not like it. And if no one knows that house, just because there's used to be so many tourists, it doesn't look like the house anymore. They got rid of the iconic windows because it was in Long Island, New York.
Oh yeah, they said that people were like trespassing and always taking pictures, and
Well,
yeah, and
if at
They
that point,
remodeled the house.
at that point, if you say it's okay to use your home in a movie, and then sell it to someone later who's like, okay, I know it was in a movie, I know that we're gonna have that, like, I don't know, it just seems kind of shitty to do. To like, it's like ruining a piece of history in a sense. It's like, I remember they were complaining about the house in, what's it called? The house in LA that was in the first season of American Horror Story. The people who live there were complaining about that. And it's like, if you sign your house up to be in a TV show or a movie, like, you're gonna have people who are gonna go and try to look at it and film it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
you should know, you should understand that. And if
Yeah,
you don't want
I
to live
agree.
if you don't want to live there anymore after that, that's fine. But like, then use your
Yeah,
money.
you chose that fucking house that you know is famous.
Yeah.
So
Use
deal with
that-
it, or pick
yeah.
the next house down the street. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and if you were to be the one to pick, like, to have your house filmed, and after that it forced you to move out, then, like, I mean, use your money that you made from the movie and the royalties you'd probably continue to make from that.
Or shit, stand out front and fucking make people pay for pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hire someone.
Yeah.
All right.
Any of you
what
ever
else?
watch House of Wax?
House of Wax, yes,
No.
No, I've never watched
with
it.
Paris Hilton.
Oh God, no.
That one scene where the guy gets his Achilles tendon clip.
Ah.
That makes me like cringe so hard every time.
Is it? Does it make you cringe like Gabe cutting in a tendon in Pet Cemetery?
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that.
ooh.
Ooh, that was bad.
Yeah.
That's another remake that sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, they changed up the story too much.
They had some
Yeah.
good practical effects in House of Wax, like.
It was like a reverse.
Yeah, no, House of
Skin.
Wax actually had some good effects in it. House of Wax did, and that was actually a pretty
Favorite
cool
movie genre. Favorite movie genre has probably been around.
A house filled with people who are
Favorite
literally
movie
covered
genre
in
has
black.
probably been around horror for the
Yeah,
longest
yeah.
time. Honestly, right
Sorry,
now
I
I
know.
don't have one.
I know Lake
Oh,
from
If it's a good
Eyes.
movie, it's a good movie. and I'll watch
Speaking
it.
of wax, an
Gotta
old
wax my legs.
no,
I gotta wax my balls.
Oh,
an old Flex might remember this film. Now tell me, you have to
Are you calling Flex
I have
old?
to say no.
Oh.
No, but Flex would probably know what film I'm talking about. Flex, did you ever see a movie called named Waxworks?
Actually, I believe I have, but that's an old one, isn't it?
Yeah. There was one scene with the werewolf, and I come to find out, like, cause I was looking up the film, and I'm like thinking, okay, so I was reading about it, and John Rhys Davis played that werewolf.
John Rhys Davies?
Hold on a second, because it sounds
1988.
Huh?
Waxwork.
From 1988.
Oh.
He also played Gimli in the Lord of the Rings series.
I did see this movie a long time ago.
Yeah.
Shit, I can't remember it, but I know I'm looking at scenes and I remember I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I remember, like, Kay, you remember our old neighbor Linda?
Yeah, not really.
And,
Not that memorable, I guess.
she used to let us borrow all these crazy horror movies, and that was one of them. And I remember I watched it with our mom, and I'm like thinking, what the hell is this? I think I've only seen it like once, but I remember, I think the werewolf scene stuck out the most. And I come to find out that the werewolf was played by John Rhys Davis.
Kay said his
I was
favorite
like, what the heck?
movie was
Yep, that was him.
Lord of the Rings: Return of the
I
King.
used to sit and watch X-Files.
My favorite Lord of the Rings movie is the
Yeah.
second one.
I don't know if
Two
you. I
Towers.
think
Worst remake ever seen.
if you look it up on the internet, you can find it. But did you know X-Files had a banned episode?
Remake.
Home.
It's like
Home, the
that, Marty.
Peacocks, which I believe it's not banned anymore.
remake.
You can find it easily.
Probably the
but
Freddy.
this is the
Freddy
one with the
Krueger,
mother with
Nightmare
no
on Elm
arms, no
Street
legs
remake.
on
That
the roller
sucked. I
under the
hated
bed.
it.
Yeah, that
Freddy
was
looked muddy and it was
that
gross.
was
It
based
just
off
dumb.
of they kind of modeled that kind of after the Texas Chainsaw, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. Which, I'm sure you guys know who Texas Chainsaw is formed from. It's actually multiple. The Psycho.
Well, yeah, Psycho.
Texas Chainsaw. They're all taken from aspects of
Ed Gein.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to learn about him in
Isn't
my.
that the
Mother
guy that made
obsession.
cutlery out of bones and shit?
Yeah.
Well, they found in his house like lampshades made out of human skin, and also Buffalo Bill from
Yeah.
the woman's suit and shit. That was all from Ed Gein too. That was things they took from him.
Yeah, I had to learn about him for my one of my psych classes, my abnormal psychology class. He was him and a lot of serial killers are pretty fucked up.
No, but didn't Ed Gein not actually really kill anybody?
Well,
Or did
he had the reason why we had to learn about him wasn't necessarily because he murdered people or anything, or if he did or not. I
I believe he was digging up. I don't remember if he killed anybody, but I know he was digging up corpses and all
He
sorts
killed
of
a few
shit.
people.
Yeah, we had to
It
take
wasn't like a John Wayne Gacy or anything like that with fucking stacks of bodies. It wasn't that. I think he only killed a few people or something.
Yeah,
like
he killed a few people.
the reason that we had to
Gacy.
learn about him was because he had like anti-personality disorder,
that. Yeah, I'd say so.
or not
Gacy-
anti-personality,
Gacy- Gacy was the clown guy, right?
Yeah, he was
He's
hiding all the bodies under his porch.
yeah,
And
that
it was
pretty gross.
all young boys and men, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That he was.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a lot of kids and stuff because he used to go to the hospital dressed up as a clown and shit like that.
He's the inspiration for Twisty the Clown in American Horror Story, as well as It from It.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
Because at the time Stephen King wrote it, it was what's it called? That was basically everyone's worst fear at that point. That's why he chose the clown. Plus, he was pretty smoked on cocaine at the time too, so there's that as well.
Yeah, he was a big cokehead. That's probably where he got a lot of his ideas from when he was fucking all coked out, you know.
Yeah, he says that he doesn't remember writing Cujo at all.
Growing up though, I know Jason's always been my favorite franchise, but my second closest to growing when I was younger actually was Puppet Master series, which I got to meet Charles Band, the creator of. Because in Boston they do a Rock and Shock festival every year. It's basically a horror convention mixed with concerts like Alice Cooper played and Rob Zombie and things like that, but they do their horror convention all day. So I got to meet Charles Band. I got to talk to him. I got a bunch of stuff.
That was really dumb. It was just a bunch of attention-seeking people.
The friggin' Blade was my favorite character ever. Blade, the little fucking white puppet master with the trench coat and the hat that had the hook in the blade.
Yeah.
He was my favorite character, but there was something about toys that came to life and killed people that I loved, and Demonic Toys. Those are the series completely, for a lot of people are cheesy as hell, but I just loved those fucking movies so much. And then they did one, they actually had a Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys and things, and I loved those movies. They had a special place in my heart, and getting to meet the creator of was even cooler.
Yeah, Puppet Master was a good series.
Yeah.
I saw the first and the second one. I never saw the third one though.
Yeah, it all had to do with the Nazi time of World War II with the Nazis and things like that.
I remember at the video store we used to look like my sister Erica, and Kay and one of our brothers Patrick and our other brother Eric. We would go to the video store. We would look at the horror section, and I distinctly remember this horror movie, and it was titled The Dentist 2, and the taglines were "Back in the chair" and "Brace yourself."
Yeah.
Wow.
The Dentist 2. The Dentist was "Brace yourself," and then Dentist 2 was "Back in the chair."
Back in the chair.
That's the best they could have thought. Like,
I see Marty says, "Y'all remember the time the clowns were terrorizing us?"
Yeah.
That was
that brings me back to Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Killer Clowns.
Yes.
Do you remember? Kay, that movie that Eric would always try and get Erica to rent for him? It was called The Virgins of Sherwood Forest.
Oh my god.
Or the time he ran up to you, he ran up to you, and he goes, "Look, D, the pornographer." It was a fucking horror movie, but it was called The Pornographer, and it was literally a guy with like one of those old school like cameras, and in the lens was like a woman, and she's like passed out on a bed or something, like all like sensual, and that was literally the name of the movie, The Pornographer. And he goes, "Look, it's the pornographer." And we were like, I was like 10, and I was like, I know what that.
Here's an older movie for you guys to look up. That's got some pretty graphic shit in it, but it's called Dr. Giggles.
What the fuck?
Oh, Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, the looking through the keyhole scene is stuck in my brain forever. I think that was the first time I ever see something get somebody's eye drilled out through a keyhole, and that scene stuck with me forever. But I watched that over my buddy's house. That was still back in the VHS days, so I can went to the Blockbuster Video and rented that shit.
Okay, so it's his your boy's turn.
Oh yeah, that's.
Oh, you didn't go yet.
More.
I haven't gone yet. I'm the last one here, and
okay, let's hear it.
I think for me it's really hard to pinpoint exactly one single movie that I can like say is my 100% favorite. So I wrote down like a top 5 with a little blurb for each. So I do want to say an honorable mention to practical effects to Jurassic Park, though, the original one. What they did at the time with those dinosaurs, building an entire dinosaur T-Rex that they had to shoot in like minutes because it would seize up in the rain scene in the beginning. Like one of 6-year-old me was shook at that first scene. I was shooketh, bro. It freaked me out when I was that young, and I thought dinosaurs were still alive for the longest time after that.
Yeah,
But
they still use they use animatronics very well. Yes.
yeah, it's amazing how they did that, and I kind of don't like how they switched to CG stuff in Jurassic World. Like, I know it's like supposed to raise the stakes up a lot, but honestly, if they would have kept it at that small park level, it would have been really awesome.
Yeah.
But I have like a top 5. My most recent movie that I think I fell in love with is like the newest one is Parasite. I mean, it's an obvious answer, just because it's a great movie by the director Bong Joon-ho, who actually has a really good couple horror movies out. Train to Busan, and another one I forgot the name of, but it's just like an amazing it's amazing acting, and it's just it's a really good like look at the dynamics between the rich and the poor, and like who feeds off of who, sort of thing. Next one would be Goodfellas. I think it's like it's a real look at what organized crime was to me, and it's more real, I think, than anything that The Godfather or Godfather 2 was, just because it really like put into perspective what happened and what those people were. It wasn't this like fantasy that The Godfather was.
I always love the fact that everybody just kicks the whole third movie right the fuck out the door.
It doesn't exist. That movie doesn't exist.
No one ever mentions it.
You don't you think
I don't think
the first Godfather was more of like a fantasy look into it, or
the first
because
Godfather.
I know
the first Godfather definitely. The first
You're about to
Godfather.
piss off some people.
I wouldn't say fantasized. More of a romanticized.
It was romanticized. It was more romantic. Yeah, the idea of the crime family was more romanticized, and that does have more so than the second one. The first one, I think, was the most romanticized because of the way that it was funded. It was funded by the mob at the time. And that's why they could never say the word mafia in the movie up until the second one, when they finally, they made enough money to make it on their own. But I think it was just... I do understand. I think that Goodfellas wouldn't exist without Godfather, but I think that the genre would be different if it wasn't for Michael Scorsese making Goodfellas.
Michael Scorsese?
Yeah.
I am a big Goodfellas person, so...
Yeah. I honestly... it takes this classic, like, kind of like anti-hero rise and fall to me. Like, he's not an anti-hero. I think he's more like a villain in it than anything in the movie, but it's like his story is real. Like, it's like a real look at what they were and what they did, and it wasn't
and that's
just
Goodfellas,
this, like,
right?
Yeah, that's Goodfellas. And it wasn't just this like it wasn't this gussied up look at like what the mob was. Like it put into perspective that a lot of them were just coked up criminals who weren't any different from like the drug dealer down the street.
Yeah, just more connections.
My next one I wrote down was an animated movie. It was WALL-E. I think it's one of the most people would say like movies like Akira or things like that for animation, but I think WALL-E was a really good. I think this is where Pixar perfected storytelling without dialogue.
Can I just say you're adorable?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, because the first half. The first half.
And he's still using. He's adorable with that Joe Rogan microphone he got.
Shut up. Shut up. Because
turn that to Joe Rogan when you're done.
To me, WALL-E. The reason why WALL-E like stands out among like the Pixar circuit, honestly, like even now, I think I could change it to include like Coco, because that's a really good
Coco
story.
is very good.
It's an amazing story, and it's a really good representation of the Hispanic culture. But I think WALL-E is good in a different way because they make you care about characters that don't talk, like they can't speak, and they perfectly show emotion through these two robots that shouldn't be able to emote, basically. and it may not have the strongest villain or any villain sort of at all or anything, but I think it's important in the way that it portrays humanity as a villain overall in the story, and it gives like a good message about like, you know, pollution and such, and like how we should care about where we are from.
I never saw Wall-E.
It's a great movie.
Go see it.
Go see it.
I've never seen it. I've never seen Wall-E.
One of like, I will say like there's only like 2 movies that ever made me like tear up once or twice, and that was Wall-E and Coco. Wall-E being
I'll cry during every movie. I don't give a fuck.
Wall-E being
You'll cry when Jason gets defeated, right?
That's right.
the scene where Wall-E what's it called? Where Wall-E like quote unquote dies, and then him and Eve have like that moment out in space where he's flying around with the little fire extinguisher. It's beautiful. Like it oh my god. And then Coco being when what's it called? Grandma Coco, like, you know, finally remembers her dad. And then after that, I had to tie in the horror genre between Hereditary and Scream. I think Hereditary put this, what's it called? It refilled my love for horror. It really like it made me like, what's it called? Have faith in horror again, as like being like an amazing genre that can like ask questions, and it's more than just this psycho slasher sex fest basically that a lot of people see it as. And then I just love Scream because it was always been my favorite horror movie. Scream was
Ghostface.
Ghostface. I just love it because it's a perfect satirization of the slasher genre that Wes Craven created in the first place, or like helped create. And
so he did a parody of his own.
He did a parody of his own work, it's great.
His own work. Yeah.
And then the last movie I have is the best superhero movie in my eyes is The Dark Knight.
Yes.
I will
the Joker,
say,
right?
Yes.
I will tell you about this. Heath Ledger. Yes. We
I
talked
will
about this
say-
last time.
I will say that I think the best cinematic experience I've had ever was watching Endgame with a bunch of other people who grew up with it. You know, watching Iron Man all the way up to that point, like, you know, you have a connection with those characters more than you could ever have. But honestly, The Dark Knight was like one of the perfect superhero movies for me, because you don't have to watch Batman Begins. You definitely don't have to watch Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight on its own is an amazing film that was made by a filmmaker who really knew what the fuck he was doing. And I think it's just like it's a sign. It shows to me that superhero movies can be more than just this giant cash cow that Disney turned it into.
Another interesting, because over the years, you know, I always thought I was more of a Marvel guy, but I always loved Batman. But as the years went on, I think I became a little bit more of a DC person, and only because, you know, sad shit happens in the Marvel universe, people die, you know, it's upsetting. But there's something about everything in the DC universe that has such a dark twist to everything. Everybody's story is dark for the most part. I mean, it's the grimy side of the superhero universe, and I really like that. I mean, even like characters like the Green Arrow and shit. I mean, dude was a brutal fucking murderer right off the bat when he was created, before he got his code of conduct. You know, Batman, all the villains in that are all twisted into these characters. And I don't know if you guys ever watched the Titans series, and me and Q didn't want to listen to this because
Yeah, man.
you know, he's muting his headset. All right, Teen Titans, yay, cute. Again, the real Titans, you know, like Robin, twisted by his parents' deaths and everything, and I mean, Robin, the opening scenes, if you watch the if you watch the Titan series, which is on DC Universe, the opening scene is like Robin killing like 10 guys, and then they're asking where the Batman is, and he's just like, fuck Batman. Like, so you right off the bat, you know, oh, because some shit went down between the two, and he hates motherfucker. Like,
I mean, in the grand scheme of a lot of that too, it's most
I do too.
heroes, if you want to say that they're heroes, are tragic characters.
right.
So
This is what even in Marvel they are, but the way it's portrayed, it's just the DC universe is so gritty, and I think it's, you know, Marvel uses a lot of bright colors, even for costumes, things like that, and I think that's what just visually is more. Everything's gonna be okay. When you watch like a lot of these DC movies, especially even we're not talking about old Superman, like the new Superman movies. You know, the costume is dark blue now, and the darker, you know, they use darker colors, which makes shit seem more tragic.
No, it's not Todd.
And
I think it's
everything.
still
I don't know if
Grayson,
things are gonna be okay. Maybe this isn't gonna end up right. You know, even though you know they're gonna come out on top, you know people are gonna die along the way, and it's, you know, and they're gonna make you feel as shitty about it as possible through the ride. I mean, that's been my observation over the years of it.
Yeah, you sympathize with the character in a sense. You know, it's even certain villains in a sense. You can feel a spot of empathy for one of my favorite all-time villains, and Kay, my brother, and my nephew can vouch for this. Vidiot is Agent Smith for the Matrix.
You never mentioned him before.
Oh,
Agent
come on. You've
Smith.
never talked about him before.
I love
You
Agent
never
Smith.
talked about Agent Smith before.
I love
kidding,
Agent Smith.
You guys always knew I was an Agent Smith fan, dude.
He was an Agent Smith kind of man.
Because especially as the movie progresses, he's fucking deranged. He is so twisted by Neo that he's deranged.
The Brute loved Hugo Weaving before he was Elrond.
Well, the thing with him is the mystery behind his character is they don't know exactly when he gained sentience, because in the first Matrix film, when he tells Brown's the two other agents, Brown and Jones, to leave the room so he could speak with Morpheus confidentially, he straight out says that he hates the Matrix. He hates that place. You know, he can't stand, what does he say? I hate this place, this prison, this zoo, this reality. You know, I can't. He just basically knows that he is trapped, just like the humans are, like Morpheus and Neo.
Yeah, all the people that are locked in the Matrix that haven't been woken up.
All the red pills, all the blue pills. He knows he is trapped, and there was a lot of debate. I remember going on about how he found out what he actually was, and some people say that he was he gained sentience on his own. He was given sentience by one of the either the architect or the Oracle.
The entire movie, John? The best
or
action scene,
or just something
movie?
like he woke up, like the red pill, and he hated it so much. He hated humanity just as much as he hated the machines and the programs. He wanted to destroy everything, and in a sense, a little speck in the back of my mind, I could feel that. I felt a little empathy for him, because he was just as much a prisoner as the rest of everybody else was. Mm-hmm. The only difference was like Neo and Trinity and Morpheus wanted to save humanity. He wanted to destroy everything, even if it meant including himself. He was to that point, you know, where it's just like, fuck it, I'm going to crush
I'm going to show I'm a god, and if it means my own demise, I will do it. And that's what I think that's what a lot of people didn't realize about his character. That's just like my deep thoughts on him. Like I said, I've always liked Agent Smith just as much as I like Neo. I mean, Neo has his own he has his own whole theories and everything behind his character. But for me, Agent Smith was a very
John Wick is one of the only like
intricate,
amazing
very deep
action
character
movies
that I think
I'll like sit and watch.
probably
in
as a
its
villain
entirety.
didn't get a
Just
whole
love it. There's just
lot
so
more
much
attention
senseless
than he
shit in it
deserved.
that's awesome though.
But,
Like it's great.
to me, villains in general don't get a whole lot of attention that they deserve. Everybody to me focuses too much on heroes. I like to focus more on the villains because I want to know what caused them to become what they are, or what caused them to become or to think the way that they do. And why are villains out to destroy? Why are villains out to change? Why are villains out to maim? One villain I think is a perfect example is the Joker, because there's so many iterations of him. There's the Joker prankster, there's the Joker gangster, and then there's the Joker the Joker who's like the Heath Ledger.
Thank you, Kay, for gifting all these amazing subs to all these amazing people for being here. You're amazing. Thank you for gifting all these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful subs. You're beautiful, my friend. You're beautiful.
From the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
His love was the ocean, was the sea, and he fell in love with Calypso. And when they released her, I don't think he ever actually recovered from that, which is why he wasn't able to fulfill or accomplish what it is that he sent out to do. He just wanted to be the main man of the ocean.
Yep. Stop ferrying the dead and
exactly
rotted for it.
Exactly.
If I may, what's it called? Going back onto something that Flex King said about his about like the difference between Marvel and DC, going about like one's dark, one's light, basically. If we're to talk like that, it's interesting that you say that, because one of my favorite Marvel movies in the MCU is the first Iron Man, but also more on topic is Infinity War, and that was my favorite. I think it's better than Endgame, just because I think it stands better on its own as a movie. I think you can watch Infinity War and like have all like understand the cues of what's going on and understand the gravity of the situations more than Endgame. Endgame just feels like a giant fan service movie to me, but I still love it. But I think Infinity War was one of the best is because like all of they don't win in the end, Yeah. And I think that's the darkest that the MCU's gotten, is they didn't win, and then half of their roster basically died.
Yeah.
And I think that's like that, and then like the first 10 minutes of Endgame like are amazing in that sense, because it's like, yeah, like they didn't win, and we're not used to seeing that, and it's like the darkest I think we've seen that whole as thing go. And looking at Infinity War on its own, like this is the third movie I cried in when fucking Peter gets what's it called? He's like, I don't feel good, Mr. Stark. And I was like, no, not my Spider-Man, because I was like,
Go ahead.
I was like that too, where what's it called? I was like that too, where Spider-Man was like my first superhero love. Like the Raimi Spider-Man movies were my favorite thing in the world when I was younger. And like watching that, I fucking loved it. But then it just lost me because, Marvel couldn't make a good movie for a while.
But
but my first superhero love, if I could chime in real quick, is Storm from the X-Men. Oh man, don't get me started on Storm, man.
I didn't mean that kind of love, D.
Don't say it. Oh,
like I was saying, man, I love those movies. I love the Marvel movies. But Deadpool is like one of my favorite characters ever. Just because I feel like me and him have similar personalities. Fucking, my wife even said that she watched Deadpool. She's like, "You know that's you, right?" With the dirtiest. I'm like, okay, well, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah.
But you know, that's one like you were saying, Infinity Wars. You're right. There was a lot of sadness and death and everything.
Yeah,
When it got to the end of that movie,
yeah,
the one I loved the movie. When I got to the end and all that shit went down, and I was like, I stood up myself and I'm like, no. But then, right in my head, instantly said it to, I forget who I was with, but I'm like, they're making a second one. Everybody's
Yeah,
gonna be back. Don't worry about it.
I remember, but
Everybody's coming back.
that I tried. I didn't like. I fought that thought out of my head, because honestly, if that was the end of the MCU, if that's where they chose to end it and just like say fuck it, we're killing everybody off, I think that would have been one of the ballsiest moves ever.
Yep.
Like,
but that's exactly when I said, like I said, the lighter side of things. I knew everybody was coming back. I knew didn't matter how it ended. I knew it was gonna be all okay in the end.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
Well,
like
you have to have that hope. You have to have that enthusiasm for, because there's some movies out there
'cause
that
the
don't
mouse
end on
wants
that
you to
note.
have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
I'm telling you guys, go, because I know you guys. I believe that you guys haven't said you didn't. Go back and watch. If you haven't watched it, watch
Ooh.
Gotham. Watch the series Gotham and watch the characters develop. Watch Titans if you pay the $5 to get DC Universe, because you can also see Doom Squad on there, and there's actually, and they have all the like cartoons and stuff like that. But those Doom Squad, Titans, and also watch Gotham, and you will see the difference in the feel that you get from watching these movies compared to the Marvel ones.
What's it called? Another one that, another movie that was brought up just now in my chat. John brought it up, was Logan.
You know what? Logan was my fucking. I'm glad you brought that, because that was my favorite spin. My favorite movie out of the whole thing, because even that's what, when I went to the movie theater, I'm like, Professor X is swearing, Wolverine's tearing shit up. I'm like, this is dark ass feeling. I was like, this is how I imagine he would feel with all his rage and everything.
Yeah.
And Logan was probably my favorite interpretation of shit, because I felt like I was talking about the horror character. I felt the rage behind the shit. I felt emotionally involved to it.
And then after that, like it I'm sorry, D.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
After that, it didn't it didn't turn out all right.
Yeah, no.
We lost the two figureheads of the entire series, basically.
Yeah, that when I seen Logan, I just went to the theater to see it, and that one really fucking got a hold of me, and I'm glad I want to go watch it now.
It was like, I think, a perfect representation of like the end of a character.
Yeah,
like it really at I think in my heart that felt like the end of that character.
The adamantium has poisoned him. He cannot heal. He's finally a seemingly invincible character.
And I love how they turn that around from the X-Men Origins movie, how they turned one of the the second stupidest thing from that movie into like one of the biggest, like, heart-wrenching things in the last movie he was in. Yeah,
unbelievable. And Professor X is having friggin' mind meltdowns and taking down friggin' buildings and shit, like, and he's crazy. He's fucking senile old man.
I remember
and his powers are out of control.
I remember seeing that in theaters, and like, honestly, that like, I don't know what it was, that hurt a lot.
Yeah, no, it really did, seeing him in that condition. Yeah, no, it really did.
I was never attached to the X-Men series or anything like that, But like just seeing that great, like this great man in the series broken and like who couldn't be as like amazing as he was before. Just like I was like, oh shit.
Because what they did is they took such a powerful mutant and they humanized him.
Yeah.
You know, they made him fragile just like every other human. He was still powerful, but he was a broken old man.
Mhm.
He was fucking, his brain was going, you know, and it became a destructive force for everybody, but his age and everything still was affecting him. It made him feel like a human, you know, opposed to one of the most powerful fucking, you know, mutants besides what Phoenix and Magneto are all. Well, Phoenix was even more
The
powerful.
Phoenix
but-
movie was fucking dog shit.
Yeah, no, the movie
No,
sucked.
no,
they
don't, shut up,
could
don't
have
talk
portrayed
about
that
that.
all much better.
They could have done
That's
different-
another one we'll forget. That's Godfather 3.
Yeah. No, that's like a made for TV Godfather movie. Godfather 3 for that series was X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Okay, so the best X-Men film for me was Days of the Future Past. I've always loved that story arc. That's like
I'm
one
honestly,
of the best, I think, from my opinion, one of the best story arcs in the X-Men franchise.
I mean, it
The
was
comic,
alright, you know?
the comic to the animated series, all the way to the film, and the only thing for me that was missing from the film was Master Mold. If they would have included Master Mold,
Master Mold
that film would have been complete for me.
shitting out all the Sentinels.
Well, that's what he did. He was the one that made the
No,
Sentinels.
Reaganom, yeah, I know.
After they built Master Mold so he can build the Sentinels for him. What's his name? Trask did that. Trask was the one who did that.
Jackass.
I'm honestly surprised that you didn't say the one that everyone says. Everyone says normally says X2 or something.
I don't like, you know what, man? The original trilogy for me, I don't want to say it was garbage, but to me it just wasn't X-Men. It was like Superhero Team 2000 or some shit. I didn't feel like
Superhero
I
Team
did- I-
2000.
yeah, I felt it became X-Men with First Class.
Mhm.
And I don't get me wrong, Hugh Jackman was a perfect choice for Wolverine. Patrick Stewart was a perfect choice for Professor X.
Yeah.
Cyclops, they probably could have chosen somebody else, you know. But as the guy got older, he looked like a dork, and so was Cyclops. So I guess that would fit later on.
You don't like
yeah.
pretty white boy being. You don't like man from Sonic being.
Yeah, that guy, he was. He wasn't a good Cyclops, but like I said, like the original X-Men trilogy film was like I said, it was like Superhero Team 2000, and it just didn't feel like
Generic
the X-Men.
Superhero 2000.
Yeah, so I made a comment online about Days of Future Past, and for me, that was the darkest film of the entire franchise. And some people, and of course, people chime in and they want to disagree.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
X2
no.
was, and I'm like, X2 was not that dark for me. It just wasn't. It just didn't feel like. I mean, it was a good story. Don't get me wrong. It was a decent story, but it wasn't. It just wasn't that dark as Days of Future Past was.
Mhm.
In those movies, I think the darkest scene that you really felt for was Magneto being born pretty much in the concentration camps in Auschwitz. Seeing him come to light and bend those gates and shit, that was probably the darkest scene that I can think of. That, you know, and because it was also in such a realistic place and everything, it just had a different type of vibe to it that you know, it put that really dark twist to it, you know, and that's a scene that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, indeed.
No, it was very, like, again, you see the birth of a villain, Magneto, because he witnesses the death of his family. He witnesses the death of his mother.
Yeah.
And if you are if you imagine yourself for a second and taking yourself and putting yourself in his shoes and witnessing the death of your mother, and you can imagine the anger and the hate coming out of you, that it would increase your powers 100-fold, you would definitely do it, because you would want to turn around and destroy the people that are responsible for your family's death.
I feel like what
Oh,
happened
yeah.
in Apocalypse would have happened on the spot right then.
Huh.
Just the entire friggin' land destroyed.
I mean, too, it's an amazing way that they shot that too, because the juxtaposition with Charles's background compared to Magneto's background was like, you know, Charles is like this, you know, basically silver spoon type of guy, compared to Michael Fassbender, and having to experience those horrors. Like, you can see why they differed in their paths and why they thought different things about the humans that the normal people that they were around. Because in Magneto's eye, it was regular humans are gonna torture them forever, and then with Charles, it was like you could work with them.
Which they were both right and they were both wrong. And
Favorite movie villains. 1 second, John.
they were in a sense, like, their idealisms, they differed, and they knew that one wanted peace, one wanted war, but at the same time, they're, in a sense, they're both wrong, because humans can't find peace, and humans sometimes always want war, and they both understood those ideologies, and that's where you get the clash. But see, that's where you get the balance at the same time. You see what I'm saying? Like you can keep things alive with that balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm just trying to think this out correctly. They kind of balanced each other out, in a sense, I guess you could say. They were both very powerful mutants. They know their powers are beyond anything the world had ever seen, and they could ultimately destroy each other if they wanted to, but they never did. I mean, as far as we know, I mean, I'm sure there's probably comic arcs out there where they go on full bore. Magneto destroys Professor X, or Professor X destroys Magneto. You know, because there's so many branching story arcs out there, especially they have so many different X-Men realities, and, you know, the shit like that. It goes pretty deep when you really get into the whole different paths and stuff like that.
I have a question from John again over here. He wanted to ask all of us what our favorite movie villains are. I'll go with.
Are we talking about specific genre though, or are we talking about superheroes?
I think it's just in general. It looks like it's just in general here.
In general.
So if we're gonna start, we can start with D up on top. Archon up on top. Just give
my favorite what?
Movie villain. Just give like a quick answer. Just shoot it, and then we'll move to the next guy.
Hands down, my favorite movie villain is Agent Smith from The Matrix.
Okay. Flex King?
You already know mine, man. Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, I of course I want to do Sauron, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But his presence was extremely minimal.
Yeah.
In Lord of the Rings.
I will give it though that his presence wasn't minimal, but you could feel it throughout the movie.
Very minimal, but yeah, you can. I did like Thanos, like a lot. Like, especially how they like.
I enjoyed who played Thanos too.
Yeah, like how slow burn it was. Like, you know, you saw him in a few movies, and then he just comes in and just whoops everyone's ass.
Yeah.
You know, and he's you know, he beats Hulk up. Like there's no tomorrow.
He kicks
Like what?
he kicks Hulk away basically. He just kicks him out, which
Yep.
was crazy to see in that movie.
Yep.
All right.
I cried then.
In the first 5 minutes, I think we all did, whether it was Hulk or Loki getting their asses kicked. All right, Qster, you're next.
Guess when the postman's Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Freddy.
I think mine's gonna have to be Joker from The Dark Knight.
Oh.
That
Don't ask me
interpretation.
why I did that. No, don't ask me why I did that.
That interpretation of the Joker in The Dark Knight is one
That
of
was
the
a good one.
best.
Now, I got a question for you guys. You know, my boy, my man, he, as far as I know, even his kids' movies, they always put him in a master good role. I don't think he's ever had a bad role. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson himself. Brute, this goes to you because you were talking about they don't concentrate on villains as much and everything. What do you think about The Rock in the Black Adam movie?
Ooh.
Having his
He
own.
doesn't know much about Black Adam. I don't think
I
he's very versed in Black Adam.
He's basically
Black Adam. Yeah. Who is he?
He's like the reverse Shazam, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's like Black Adam is like he's like a spoiled kid basically who thought he deserved to have. He was the first guy basically. He was one of the first people that. What's his name went to the wizard or no, wasn't he like fuck? I forgot the backstory. He believed that he should have the title of Shazam.
Yeah, like Shazam has the red with the yellow lightning bolts. Black Adam has the black with like the silver lightning bolts, I believe it is. But
Okay.
they are making a Black Adam movie, and The Rock will be playing it. And with The Rock, Rock is one of my favorite people. But just the fact that they're gonna stick him with this role, I think they're gonna take the movie very seriously, and he's supposed to be sticking very close with how it's coming out. So I think they're gonna have a very good villain portrayal in a movie. So that, because I know you said that they don't focus too much on the villains and stuff. So I think this is gonna be a movie that you're gonna see, a real good side of a villain. So it might be something to look into.
He's actually
definitely look
Black
into it.
Adam.
He's-
Oh, go on, Kay.
Hey guys,
Oh,
I'll
Black
be right back.
Adam.
Hold on.
All right, Brute.
Should we wait for him to come back before we explain the origins of Black Adam?
I think it's.
Oh
fun.
yeah,
If you want to.
I mean,
Yeah, we'll wait.
We can wait till he comes back so you can hit him with the knowledge.
Hit him with the
The
knowledge
knowledge
bomb.
of the Black.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
So you're talking about X-Men too. I want to raise you Fantastic Four reboot.
Fuck that.
Ew.
Get it out of here. Can't believe you just said that.
Well, the Fantastic
Sacrilege.
Four movies. I don't know which one. There was one of them I thought they did a decent job on.
Silver
Decent.
Surfer.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember them all. They're not that memorable to me, but I thought one was decent.
The only reason why that movie is any sort of memorable for me is because Chris Evans was in it. But other than that, I don't really have any sort of memory of those movies.
Yeah.
So the fact that Doctor Doom just got basically one shot and he's like one of the most powerful villains ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who was?
Go fuck yourselves.
Doctor Doom.
Dr. Doom.
He was basically
Dr. Doom?
he was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
basically destroyed in those movies in like one movie. It was stupid. And then,
Dr. Doom?
Who else? What other movies sucked? Remakes. What other remakes? and
Did you
movies?
guys ever play DC Universe?
No, actually, I wanted to, but I don't
the
think
MMO?
I didn't have a PC for it
Yeah.
at the time.
I played it once. It was alright.
Yeah, my dad had like fucking 6 top level tier characters all rated out and everything. Friggin' used to do. Yeah, he made. I came over to this. I'm like, how much time do you have?
You remember
he's
that? Do you remember that one game that came out that was it was called Gotham City Imposters.
Yeah, that
And
was such a great fun.
It was Joker imposters versus Batman imposters.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No, I
it was
don't
because
remember that.
it's because the Joker and Batman like took time off or something. I forgot what the story was behind the game. They were off doing something else, and a bunch of people took it upon themselves to like protect the city basically, and then the other half decided to destroy the city. You know, it was basically like it was like a Call of Duty-esque sort of like competitive shooter, where it was Joker versus
Interesting.
Batman
It's on
people.
Steam.
Yeah, it's on Steam still, I think.
Yeah, it's free to play.
Interesting. All right, Kay, you were gonna get into.
Oh, did you get it,
from
Vidya?
Bruce-
Did you look it
Bruce
up?
back.
I have it. But
ahead,
if
tell
you
'em.
have, okay. All right then. Black Adam is reintroduced to the DC universe in the Power of Shazam graphic novel by Jerry Ordway in 1994. In that story and the subsequent Power of Shazam ongoing series, Adam is a deadly and evil adversary. In the revised origin, Teth Adam was born on September 11th, 1279 BC. He's the son of Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II and impresses one of the high priests, the wizard Shazam, with his good deeds. The wizard gives him the power to become the superhero Mighty Adam by speaking the name Shazam. Basically, he goes power hungry, serves as Egypt's champion for many centuries, but becomes corrupted by the charms of a mysterious woman revealed to be Shazam's evil daughter Blaze in disguise. So he's bewitched, convinced that he and his mistress should rule Egypt, so he kills the pharaoh and appoints himself as ruler. The wizard Shazam takes his powers away, and he's basically, from then on, goes ballistic after that point.
So seeing Dwayne Johnson play the Black Adam hulking beast is gonna be pretty interesting.
Sounds like it's gonna be pretty badass.
Yeah. So that's gonna be a villain movie to definitely look out for.
A good villain movie was Venom.
Venom, yeah. Well, Venom's like anti-hero
That
kind
was a
of.
surprise good
Yeah.
movie for me, I guess.
I do like
Spider-Man.
because Venom actually over the years was one of my favorite Marvel characters. Venom's always been, one of my favorites, and I even like
Spawn?
well, that's probably why, because Spawn was always like a huge thing to me. I actually remember seeing the first Spawn movie come out the theaters. My dad took me to see it at midnight at opening day, and I was a huge, Clive Barker fan and everything and Todd McFarlane. So the Todd McFarlane had all the figures and all that shit, and the Spawn universe was pretty awesome. And all the variations of Spawn. I think I have it somewhere. The Angel Spawn, where it's just like bare rotted skin, but he's got these massive angel wings coming out of his back. It's pretty awesome, fucking cool ass figure. But yeah, Spawn universe. I mean, that super dark Spawn. I mean, it's all about hell and even like Violator and shit. And the clown that the clown is disgusting. He is disgusting. It was it Danny? No, who was it? John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
He played a good ass
DC
freaking
character.
clown.
He did. He was really gross. Like he just looked gross. Like
My
When he's eating the
opinion, best DC
maggots on the
character
pizza
in-
and shit.
best DC character other than
It's-
Batman.
He's disgusting, but he's a joke. And then when Spawn's just trash
If
talking
I'm
him, all of
not
a sudden
saying
he's
Batman
like,
related
no,
stuff, then
don't fucking talk to me that way. And he turns and beats the shit
I
out
really
of
like
Spawn.
Green
You
Arrow.
just see how powerful
I like
this
his
little
story.
asshole of a clown is. But obviously Spawn has endless potential.
Cyborg, actually. I
Saws
like
his
Cyborg's
head
backstory.
off.
Or Raven. Raven too. Raven too.
I was so upset that they never came up with another one. Fucking
yeah,
that disappointed me so much
Supposed
because
to be
that
one-
movie was so good.
There's supposed to be one in the works, like a new one. Todd McFarlane's, I guess, blowing some sunshine up everyone's ass and saying there's another one coming up soon.
If he's not in full creative control of it, then I don't think it's gonna
Yeah.
be fucking
Hey.
anywhere.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I gotta call it a night.
I mean, we are running on 2
Yeah.
hours around here, so.
Yeah,
Alright,
so
well,
I'll we gotta plan another one. I don't know what you guys want to try and talk about
Next
next
Friday,
time.
we'll do this again, and we'll come up with something in the minutes after you leave.
Hey, I would think we should try and dive back into the paranormal.
into the
Well,
spooks.
I'm going to
Yeah.
say, if we're going by the list here that I have, Archon Flex K would be the next one to choose the topic.
Okay.
I need to make another panel. I haven't streamed these last two ones. I need to make another panel for my fucking streams because I have my full face, but I want to do my split screen so I can actually show videos and pictures and things like that.
What's it
What
called?
are you planning? What are you planning, Kay?
Quinlan is gonna help us. No, you gotta tell us. Quinlan's gonna help
Yeah.
us to set up. He's gonna help me at least, and then I'll help you guys set up a thing where we can have everybody's webcam on our streams at once.
Okay.
Yeah, that my our WGG guys do that. They do it on like a Discord call and
Yeah, and then
just put it to stream.
yeah, that's what I want to do. I think that'd be cool for all of us.
We'll do that. Yeah, let's figure that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
because even on mine, where I got the both. Well, you have two computers too, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can put up the Discord on one, pull up the feed on the second one, and just live stream it. You just live because I have mine to all video capture, so anything that's on my
Mhm.
monitor it picks up. So I mean,
Yep.
we could go into a Discord call with just our cameras, and it will
then
have
we-
all of us on the screen, and I just click stream, and it will pop up on Twitch.
all right,
Okay.
all right. So, Kay, what is the topic of discussion for next week?
Okay, the topic of discussion for next week. What 3 video games have had a monument, like an impact on you?
Okay.
Like whatever it may be. Like what games have made you feel a certain way? Like, is it an open world game? Is it like an FPS, RPG? Like, what video games have like affected you
Okay.
pretty much
Hmm.
and have stuck with you like
Yeah, I
throughout
know
the
one for me.
years?
I got okay. I have already 3, and 2 are newer games, and one's. an
I know
older
one of
game.
them.
I have an idea.
All right, well,
Yeah,
give
I-
it
some
I
ideas.
don't think you do.
I'm gonna have to give this one some thought, man, because I've played quite a few.
He's
so,
gonna be like
jeez.
Matrix video game.
And if you're about to say
Nah.
fuck you, then it's no.
No.
Escape
I
from
can't say
Tarkov
that
has had a profound impact on Flex King, as we all know.
And recently, it has had a profound impact on.
No, it's had an addiction impact, but it hasn't had an emotional impact or
Emotional resonance to you.
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
like an emotional impact.
All right,
What 3
guys.
games have had emotional impacts to you?
Okay.
They could be
Okay.
modern, they could be retro, they could be whatever you guys. What made you feel some type of way? I believe is the term.
Well, I
Okay.
believe that is the term. What makes you feel some type of way?
All right.
And to everybody's viewers currently that are watching right now, make sure that you prepare for that as well. Bring your questions,
Mhm.
and we'll gladly answer them.
Yes, this is good stuff. Next Friday, are we looking at 6:30 again?
I
The
also
film.
I'm also recording this whole thing, so I think I'm gonna upload it to my channel on YouTube.
Cute.
I'll have the long version, and then I might send it to my editor to do a highlights version of it as well.
Whoa, an editor?
Oh boy.
Wait, whoa!
Yeah, look at this guy. He's already
Dude.
Joe Rogan.
So
Already
Q,
Joe
you editing
Rogan.
the shit for him?
Oh no, Q's not doing my shit for me actually. If Q can video edit, then please.
Oh, hey guys, my film, my old time film. I thought about it.
Okay.
I thought about it. Jaws.
Oh,
Right?
his
Really?
favorites. Okay.
All right.
All right then.
Yes, that unbelievable movie. Unbelievable effects in the movie as well.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right.
All right, guys.
See, you should have said this earlier, because now we could have dove into that and ripped that shit apart.
Yeah.
But
Now
you
it's
came
over.
in late to the race.
It's over now, guys.
Sorry guys.
All right.
All right.
Alrighty.
Have a good
All right,
night.
guys.
Good. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for coming out and hanging out.
Bye bye.
We'll see you next Friday
See you
at
next
the
Friday at 6:30.
Chatting Experience, right? Isn't that what it's called?
6:30 PST.
All right,
6:30
guys.
Just
PM.
chatting
Yes.
experience.
Have a good night.
Have a good night,
Have a good one,
everybody.
guys.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And to all you beautiful people, have a good night. And talk to you later.